Atlas stopped so violently his body slammed into Maya's legs. The German Shepherd wasn't just alerting, he was screaming without sound, his whole body rigid, ears pinned forward, staring at black water rising through the marsh grass. Maya followed his gaze and saw them. 3 men, FBI tactical gear, bound with military zip ties, gagged, sinking, water at their chins. Eyes wide with terror and something worse than fear. Betrayal. They had maybe 4 minutes before the tide covered their faces. Maybe 3. One of them was mouthing words through the gag, the same words over and over. "Help us. Please, God, help us." Atlas was already moving, and Maya understood immediately this wasn't a training exercise anymore. This was war. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button and stay with us until the very end. This story will leave you breathless. Drop a comment with your city or country so I can see how far Maya's story reaches. Now let's dive in. Maya Chen's knife cut through the first zip tie like it was made of paper. Her hands didn't shake. Couldn't shake. Seals don't shake when people are dying. "I've got you. Stay calm. Breathe through your nose." The man, 30s, gray-green eyes, dark hair plastered to his skull, gasped as the gag came off. Water sputtered from his mouth. He tried to speak, but his teeth were chattering too hard. "Don't talk. Just breathe. Atlas, guard." The German Shepherd positioned himself between Maya and the marsh edge, head swiveling, scanning. Every muscle coiled like he expected attack any second. Maya moved to the second man, older, wedding ring glinting under mud, beard thick with marsh grass. His eyes tracked her movements with the desperate focus of someone who'd accepted death and couldn't believe rescue was real. "How many were there?" Maya asked as she cut his bonds. "How many attackers?" The man coughed, vomited black water. 8, maybe more. They knew we were coming." They knew everything. Who knew? Someone in the bureau. Had to be. Nobody else knew about this meeting. Maya froze. "You're FBI. Special Agent David Brooks. That's my partner, Marcus Reed. And that's..." He stopped, looked at the third man with something that might have been suspicion. "That's Agent Thomas Vance." The third man was conscious but silent, watching Maya work with eyes that calculated everything, assessed threats, measured options. She'd seen that look before. In operators. In people trained to survive by reading rooms faster than normal humans read sentences. "I'm Lieutenant Maya Chen, Navy SEAL. I was running a training exercise when my dog found you." Brooks grabbed her wrist, his grip surprisingly strong for someone who'd been drowning 90 seconds ago. "You can't trust your command. You can't trust anyone. We were investigating human trafficking through military bases. Someone sold us out." "Let go of my arm. Listen to me. They used Navy transport. Navy personnel. Someone in your branch is moving people like cargo, and they just tried to kill 3 federal agents to keep it quiet." Maya pulled free. "You're hypothermic. You're in shock. You need medical attention." "I need you to believe me." "I believe Atlas found you drowning. Everything else is something you tell your supervisors." She pulled out her radio, keyed it. "Chen to base. I need immediate medevac. 3 casualties. Blackwater Marsh coordinates." Gunfire cracked across the water. A bullet hit the mud 3 inches from Brooks's head. Another punched through the cattails beside Reed. Maya moved without thinking, grabbed Brooks and Reed, shoved them behind a tidal ridge, pulled her sidearm, returned fire at muzzle flashes 50 yards out. "Atlas, attack left!" The dog exploded forward. A blur of tan, gold, and black cutting through marsh grass like a missile. A man screamed. More gunfire. Atlas didn't yelp. Didn't retreat, just kept moving. Vance wasn't moving. He lay where Maya had left him, either too injured to run or smart enough to stay low. She couldn't tell which. Brooks tried to stand. Maya shoved him back down. Stay down unless you want your wife to get a flag instead of a husband. How did you... Wedding ring. Stay down. She counted muzzle flashes. 4 shooters. No, 5. Professional spacing. Military tactics. Using the marsh for cover the way she'd been trained to use urban terrain. Reed grabbed a rock. Give me a weapon. You can barely stand. I can shoot. Maya handed him her backup piece, a Glock 19. 8 rounds. Make them count. She moved. Low, fast, using tidal ridges for cover. The shooters were good, but they were hunting 3 injured men. They weren't expecting a Navy SEAL who'd trained in worse terrain than this. She flanked left, came up behind the first shooter. He never saw her, just felt the barrel against his skull and Maya's voice in his ear. Drop it, or I drop you. He dropped it. She zip-tied his hands with the same military-grade ties they'd used on the FBI agents. Poetic justice. Then she moved to the next position. Atlas had taken down 2 more. One was unconscious. The other was trying to crawl away with a dislocated shoulder and a German shepherd standing on his back. Good boy. Hold. The dog held. Didn't bite. Didn't release. Just applied exactly enough pressure to keep the man pinned without causing more damage than necessary. Maya cleared the remaining positions. Found one shooter dead. Looked like he'd tried to run, and the marsh had taken him. Broken neck. Face down in black water. She didn't feel sorry. The last shooter was smarter. He ran. Disappeared into the fog before Maya could pursue. She let him go. Had 3 wounded agents, 3 captured shooters, and a very bad feeling that this was bigger than a training exercise gone wrong. She radioed base again. Chen to base, shots fired, multiple casualties. I need medevac and I need it now. Also need military police and federal agents. We've got a situation. The response came back clipped. Professional. Copy that, Lieutenant. Birds inbound. ETA 7 minutes. 7 minutes. She checked her watch. The tide was still rising. Brooks and Reed were hypothermic. Vance still hadn't moved. Maya approached him carefully. Agent Vance, can you walk? He looked up at her and smiled. It was the wrong kind of smile. The kind that knew something she didn't. You shouldn't have saved us, Lieutenant. You just made yourself a target. What are you talking about? They'll come for you now, same way they came for us. Because you've seen too much, heard too much, and dead seals tell no tales. Brooks called out, Maya, he's wrong! Don't listen to him! But Atlas was growling. Low, continuous. The sound he made when something was fundamentally wrong with a person. When threat wasn't just external. When it was sitting right in front of them. Atlas, easy. The dog didn't ease, just kept growling at Vance. And Maya had worked with Atlas for 2 years. Long enough to know the dog didn't false alert. Ever. The helicopters arrived with noise that scattered birds and rattled Maya's chest. 2 of them. Navy medevac and military police. Corpsmen jumped out with medical gear. MPS secured the captured shooters. Brooks was loaded onto a stretcher. He grabbed Maya's hand as they lifted him. Don't trust Vance, please. There's something wrong with him. We suspected a mole in our team, but we didn't know who. And now... He coughed, hard. Blood flecked his lips. Now I think we know. Reed was conscious enough to nod. Brooks is right. Vance suggested this meeting location. Said he knew Blackwater. Said it would be secure. And look what happened. Vance said nothing, just watched them load him onto the second helicopter with eyes that gave away nothing. Maya's commanding officer arrived on the MP bird, Commander Sarah Price, 40-something, hard as tungsten. She'd been a SEAL before Maya was born. "Lieutenant, report." Maya gave her the facts. Training exercise. Atlas alerted. Found 3 FBI agents bound and drowning. Came under fire. Returned fire. Captured 3 shooters. 1 fled. 1 dead. Price listened without interrupting. Then, "The FBI agents. What were they doing in Blackwater Marsh?" "They said they were investigating human trafficking through military bases. Said someone in the Navy is involved." Price's expression didn't change, but something behind her eyes did. Something that might have been recognition, or might have been concern. "Did they say who?" "No, ma'am. Agent Brooks said they suspected a mole in their own team. Agent Vance, specifically." "And you believed them?" "I believed Atlas. My dog won't stop alerting on Vance. He's never wrong about threats." Price looked at Atlas. The German shepherd sat at perfect attention. Not relaxed, not comfortable, still watching the helicopter where Vance was being treated. "Your dog's instincts have saved lives before." "Yes, ma'am." "Then I'm inclined to trust them now." Price pulled out her phone, made a call. "This is Commander Price. I need Naval Intelligence and FBI Internal Affairs at the hospital where we're taking the rescued agents. We've got a potential corruption issue that needs immediate attention." She hung up, looked at Maya. "You're coming with me. Bring the dog." "Ma'am, I'm supposed to complete my training exercise." "Your training exercise just became a federal investigation. And like it or not, you're now a material witness. Maybe more than that." "More how?" 3 FBI agents investigating Navy corruption just got ambushed by professional contractors using military tactics in a location only they knew about. Someone leaked their position. Someone with access to federal law enforcement communications and military resources. That's not street-level corruption. That's institutional rot. Maya felt ice in her stomach. "You think it goes that high?" "I think we won't know until we dig. And I think you and that dog just became the only people in this situation who definitely aren't compromised. So yeah, you're coming with me." They flew to the Naval Hospital. Brooks and Reed were rushed into emergency treatment. Hypothermia, shock, minor injuries, nothing life-threatening. They'd been in the water maybe 40 minutes. Any longer, and Maya would have found corpses. Vance was taken to a separate wing, under guard, Price's orders. "Until we know what we're dealing with, he's a potential hostile. Treat him accordingly." The captured shooters were in MP custody, being interrogated. None of them were talking. Professional discipline, the kind mercenaries learned when they knew their employers had long reach and short patience. Maya was debriefed by Naval Intelligence, a man named Captain Torres. He was thorough, asked the same questions 12 different ways, looked for inconsistencies, tested her story against physics and timeline. After an hour, he leaned back. "Your story checks out. Atlas's alert behavior is documented through your training log. The ballistics match your account. And the captured shooter's equipment is consistent with private military contractors. High-end gear. Expensive. Who pays for that kind of operation? Someone with deep pockets and deeper connections. The kind of person who can access FBI case files and deploy kill teams on 6 hours' notice. How do we find them?" Torres smiled. It wasn't friendly. "We follow the evidence. Speaking of which, one of the captured shooters had this." He slid a phone across the table. Encrypted. Military grade. "We cracked it 3 minutes ago. Want to guess who he was texting with right before the ambush?" Maya's chest tightened. Who? A burner phone registered to someone in this hospital. Someone in the wing where we're treating your FBI agents. Which agent? We're triangulating now, but Lieutenant, if one of those agents is the mole, and he figures out we're onto him, things are going to get very dangerous very fast. Maya stood. Where's Atlas? Kennel, get him, right now, and take me to wherever you're keeping the agents, because if my dog alerts on the mole, we'll know immediately who we're dealing with. Torres made the call. 5 minutes later, Atlas was brought in. The dog went straight to Maya, pressed against her leg, still tense, still alert. They walked to the hospital wing. Brooks was in room 304, Reed in 306, Vance in 310, all under guard, all being monitored. Maya let Atlas walk the hallway. The dog moved slowly, sniffing, processing. He walked past Brooks's room without reacting. Walked past Reed's room the same way. Stopped at Vance's room. Growled. Low. Continuous. The hair on his back standing up. That's our mole, Maya said quietly. Torres keyed his radio. This is Torres. Detain Agent Vance immediately. Prepare for hostile resistance. But when the guards entered Vance's room, it was empty. The window was open. The IV had been pulled out. Blood on the floor. And on the bed, written in that blood, was a message. She shouldn't have saved us. Atlas barked. Once. Sharp. Maya ran to the window, looked down. 3 stories. No body. Just footprints in the mud heading toward the perimeter fence. Vance was gone. And he knew exactly who Maya was. Torres's radio erupted with voices. Perimeter breach! South fence! Subject heading toward parking structure! Maya was already moving. Atlas, track! The German Shepherd bolted down the hallway. Maya followed. Torres shouted behind her, but she didn't stop. Vance had maybe 2 minutes head start. In a hospital full of wounded agents and civilians, a man who'd just proven he'd kill to protect his secrets. They hit the stairwell. Atlas took them 3 at a time. Maya's legs burned, but SEALs didn't stop for burning legs. They stopped when the mission was complete, or they were dead. Ground floor. Exit door hanging open. Atlas pushed through. Maya followed into parking structure. Concrete. Shadows. 1,000 places to hide. Atlas, find. The dog's nose dropped. He moved in precise patterns, quartering, searching. Then he locked onto something. Pulled hard toward the 3rd level. Maya's radio crackled. Torres. Chen, fall back. We've got MPS securing the area. Vance is heading to level 3. Send back up there. You're not authorized. Then court-martial me later. Right now, I'm not letting him disappear. She cut the radio. Followed Atlas up the ramp. The dog stopped to the black SUV. Government plates. Tinted windows. And the driver's door was open. Maya approached with weapon drawn. Cleared the vehicle. Empty. But the keys were in the ignition. Engine still warm. Vance had been here seconds ago. A sound behind her. Maya spun, found herself staring at Brooks. He was in a hospital gown, barefoot, IV still dangling from his arm, holding a tire iron. Where is he? Brooks, what are you doing out of bed? Same thing you are, hunting a traitor. Where's Vance? He was here, just missed him. Brooks moved to the SUV, looked inside. His face went white. Oh, God. What? This vehicle. It's registered to our field office. Vance requisitioned it this morning, before we even left for Blackwater. Brooks pulled open the back door. Inside were 3 go bags, cash, passports, weapons. He knew. Before we ever got to that marsh, he knew exactly what was going to happen. Maya checked the passports. Different names, professional forgeries. He was planning to run. Not planning, he is running. And if he gets out of this hospital, we'll never find him. He's got resources, safe houses, the whole trafficking network backing him. Then we don't let him leave. Atlas barked.
Sharp, urgent, not his alert bark, his warning bark. Maya turned just as the first shot rang out. The bullet hit the concrete beside Brooks. He dropped. Maya returned fire at muzzle flashes 2 levels up. More contractors. They'd been waiting. Vance had led them straight into a kill box. "Brooks, can you run?" "Can I breathe? Then I can run." They sprinted for the stairwell, Atlas leading. More gunfire, bullets ricocheting. Maya counted at least 4 shooters. Professional spacing. They weren't just trying to kill Vance. They were cleaning up the whole situation. The stairwell door burst open above them. 2 men in tactical gear. Maya didn't hesitate. 2 shots, both men down. She grabbed their weapons, tossed one to Brooks. "You said you could shoot." "I said I'd been shot at. There's a difference." "Learn fast." They kept moving. Down, ground level. But the exit was blocked. 3 more contractors. MP5s. Body armor. The kind of equipment that said someone was spending serious money to silence witnesses. Maya pulled Brooks back. "We're pinned." "Then we make noise. Get attention." Brooks grabbed his radio from his hospital gown pocket. Started broadcasting on emergency frequency. "This is FBI Special Agent David Brooks. We are under attack at Naval Hospital parking structure. Armed contractors. Multiple shooters. Need immediate assistance." The response came back fast. "Agent Brooks, this is base security. We're mobilizing." The transmission cut off. Replaced by different voice. Calm. Professional. And familiar in a way that made Maya's skin crawl. "Agent Brooks, you should have stayed in the marsh. Would have been cleaner that way." Brooks's hand tightened on the radio. "Who is this?" "Someone who's been very disappointed in your team's progress. 8 months investigating. Getting close. Too close. We couldn't allow that to continue." "You're the one who set us up." "I'm the one who cleans up messes. Your team was a mess. Agent Vance was a mess. And now Lieutenant Chen is a mess. But messes can be sanitized with enough bleach and bullets." Maya grabbed the radio. "This is Lieutenant Maya Chen, U.S. Navy. You just threatened a federal agent and a commissioned officer. That's a felony. Multiple felonies." "Lieutenant Chen, the SEAL who can't follow orders. Yes, we've been reading your file. Impressive record. Youngest female SEAL. Top marks in every category. Also notes about difficulty with authority and tendency toward independent action. That independence is about to get you killed. You want to kill me? Come down here and try." "I don't do my own wet work. I delegate. Speaking of which," the contractors opened fire. Full automatic. Maya and Brooks dove behind a concrete pillar. Atlas pressed against Maya's legs. She could feel the dog trembling. Not fear, controlled aggression, waiting for the command to attack. Brooks was hit. Shoulder. Not fatal, but bleeding hard. He pressed his hand against the wound. "That voice. I know that voice." "Who is it?" "I can't. It's someone I've worked with, someone in the bureau, but I can't place it." "Think harder, because whoever it is just sent a kill team after us." The firing stopped. Reload. Maya used the pause. Stepped out. 3 shots. 2 contractors down. The third took cover. She ducked back as return fire chewed up concrete. "Brooks, in your investigation, who knew everything? Who had access to all your case files?" "Only our supervisor, Assistant Director Marcus Webb. But he's been with the Bureau for 20 years. Decorated, respected. He wouldn't—" The voice in the radio. Could it be Webb? Brooks went silent. Processing. His face showed the moment recognition hit.
Oh God, it's him. It's Marcus. I've known him for 15 years, trained under him, trusted him, and he just... His voice broke. He just tried to kill us. Maya's radio crackled. Different voice. Commander Price. Jen, what's your status? Under fire. Parking structure level 1. At least 3 contractors. Agent Brooks is wounded. We need extraction. MPs are 30 seconds out. Hold position. Ma'am, we've got bigger problems. The voice on the radio. Brooks identified him as FBI Assistant Director Marcus Webb. He's running the cleanup operation. Price was quiet for 3 seconds. Then, Webb is in D.C. right now. Testified before a Senate committee this morning. Public record. Then he's delegating real time, which means he's got communications with the contractors, which means we can trace... Explosion. The concrete pillar beside them erupted. Shaped charge. Military grade. The contractors weren't just shooting anymore. They were demolishing. Atlas yelped, caught by concrete fragments, blood on his flank. Not deep, but enough to make Maya's vision go red. You hurt my dog! She stepped out from cover. No hesitation, no fear. Pure SEAL combat training taking over. Moved, fired. Moved, fired. The third contractor went down. She checked his body, found a radio. Encrypted. Military frequency. Brooks crawled over. Maya, that was insane. They could have killed you. They hurt Atlas. Big mistake. She keyed the contractor's radio. Webb, or whoever's listening. I've got 3 of your men down. Their radios, their phones, their gear. All evidence. And I'm bringing it all to naval intelligence. Every connection. Every communication. Every dollar you spent trying to kill us. It's over. Static. Then Webb's voice, colder now, angry. You're a child playing war. You have no idea what you're interfering with. I'm a Navy SEAL who just killed 3 of your contractors. I know exactly what I'm doing. Then you know you're dead. You, Agent Brooks, that dog, everyone who knows about this operation. We'll kill you all before we let you expose what we've built. What have you built? A trafficking network? How many people have you sold? How many lives destroyed so you could get rich? Rich? Webb laughed, bitter. This isn't about money. It's about control. Every person we move creates leverage. Every powerful person who buys creates compromise. We don't traffic humans for profit. We traffic them for power. And that power has protected this country for 6 years. Done things official channels couldn't touch. Maya felt sick. You're justifying slavery as national security? I'm explaining reality to someone too young to understand how the world actually works. But don't worry, you won't have to understand much longer. The line went dead. Military police arrived, 12 of them, weapons drawn. They secured the parking structure. Medics treated Brooks and Atlas. Commander Price arrived with naval intelligence and someone Maya didn't recognize. A woman. 50s. FBI jacket. Hard eyes. Price made introductions. This is Special Agent Jennifer Morrison, FBI Internal Affairs. She's been investigating Marcus Webb for 3 months. Morrison knelt beside Brooks. Agent Brooks, I'm sorry about what happened in the marsh. We suspected Webb was dirty, but we didn't know he'd moved to active elimination of his own people. Brooks looked at her through pain. 3 months. You've known for 3 months, and you didn't warn us? We had suspicions, not proof. And Webb has deep connections. We couldn't move without ironclad evidence, or he'd bury the investigation, and us with it. So you let us walk into an ambush? We didn't know about Blackwater. Webb compartmentalized.
Agent Vance was our mole inside your team, but he was reporting to a cutout. We didn't know Webb was pulling strings until Lieutenant Chen saved you and Vance ran." Maya interrupted. "Vance is still out there, still running, with 3 fake passports and enough cash to disappear." Morrison pulled out a tablet, showed them satellite imagery. "Vance is heading to a private airfield 30 miles from here. We've been tracking his phone. He thinks he's being smart using burner devices, but we've been mapping his whole network for months. Every call, every text, every contact." "Then arrest him." "We can't, not yet, because Vance is our link to the bigger network. We let him run. He'll lead us to the people funding this operation, the buyers, the handlers, everyone." Brooks pushed himself up. "You want to use him as bait?" "I want to dismantle the entire organization, not just arrest one corrupt agent." "And what about Webb? He just tried to kill us using federal resources." Morrison's expression hardened. "Webb is in D.C., protected by position and connections. We can't move on him without evidence that survives his legal team, which means we need testimony from Vance. Or we need to catch Webb actively directing criminal operations." Maya looked at the contractor's radio she'd taken. "He did. Direct criminal operations. Over this radio. It's recorded." Morrison's eyes widened. "You recorded Webb ordering an attack?" "The radio did, automatically. Military encryption radios log all communications for security review." "Can I see it?" Maya handed it over. Morrison worked fast, pulled up the logs, found the conversation. Her smile was sharp and dangerous. "This is it. This is what we need. Webb actively directing assassination of federal agents. Conspiracy to commit murder. Using government resources for criminal enterprise. We can move on him now." Price nodded. "But carefully. Webb has allies. Some we know about, some we don't. If we spook him, he'll activate contingencies." Brooks coughed blood. "What kind of contingencies?" "The kind that burn evidence and bury witnesses, 6 feet under." Morrison looked at Maya. "Lieutenant Chen, I need a favor." "What kind?" "The kind that involves you going somewhere very dangerous to catch someone very powerful before he destroys everything we've worked for." And somewhere 30 miles away, Thomas Vance was boarding a private plane, confident he'd escaped, confident his handlers would protect him. He had no idea the plane's flight path was being monitored by every intelligence agency in the country, or that the woman he'd tried to kill in a marsh was about to become the person who destroyed everything he'd built. Morrison pulled up a map on her tablet. "Vance's plane is heading to a private airfield in North Carolina. Remote location, no commercial traffic. The kind of place that doesn't ask questions when planes arrive at midnight." Maya looked at the map. "What's there?" "A warehouse facility, officially registered as agricultural storage. Actually used as a transit point for the trafficking network. We've had it under surveillance for 6 weeks. Counted at least 40 victims moved through there." Brooks tried to stand, swayed. Maya caught him. "You're not going anywhere except a hospital bed." "The hell I'm not. This is my case, my team, my responsibility." "Your responsibility is healing so you can testify. Mine is stopping them before they move those 40 people." Morrison nodded. "Lieutenant Chen is right. We need you alive for prosecution. But we need someone on the ground at that facility. Someone who can document what's happening. Get evidence we can use in court." "You want me to go in alone?" "Not alone. We'll have FBI tactical team on standby. Naval intelligence providing support. And Atlas goes with you. But yes, you'd be the primary operator." Price interrupted.
Agent Morrison, Lieutenant Chen isn't trained for undercover operations. She's a SEAL, combat, direct action, not surveillance. Which is exactly why she's perfect. Vance knows FBI methods. He knows how we operate.
But he doesn't know how SEALs think, how they move.
Lieutenant Chen can get close in ways our people can't. Maya looked at Atlas. The dog's flank was bandaged. He was hurt. Not badly, but enough that asking him to work was pushing it. My dog is injured. Then leave him here. No. Atlas comes, or I don't go. Morrison considered. Can he still work? Maya knelt beside Atlas, checked his eyes, his breathing, his response time. The dog looked back at her with steady focus, ready, willing. He can work, but if this goes bad, 40 people get trafficked, maybe killed, and Webb gets away with murder. Those are the stakes. Maya stood. Then let's move. What's the plan? Morrison laid it out fast. Maya would insert near the facility, observe Vance's arrival, document who he meets with, identify the handlers, get photos, evidence. Atlas would provide early warning and detection. If things went wrong, FBI Tactical would breach. How do I insert? Helicopter, low altitude, fast rope insertion, half-mile from target. You approach on foot, set up observation post, watch and report. And if they spot me, then you do what SEALs do, survive until backup arrives. They geared up fast. Maya changed into combat utilities, loaded weapons, checked equipment. Atlas got a tactical vest with camera. If the dog couldn't fight effectively, he'd at least provide intel. Brooks grabbed her arm before she left. Maya, be careful. These people, they're not just criminals. They're true believers. They think what they're doing serves a higher purpose. That makes them more dangerous than people who just want money. What higher purpose? Control. Webb said it himself. They traffic people to create leverage over powerful buyers. Every politician, every military officer, every corporate executive who participates becomes compromised, becomes controllable. It's not a crime syndicate. It's a shadow government. The words hit Maya like cold water. How long has this been running? Webb said 6 years, but I think it's older. I think he inherited it from someone else, built on it, expanded it. Who? I don't know. But whoever it is has enough power to make an FBI assistant director into an errand boy. Think about that. Maya thought about it during the helicopter flight. Thought about power that could corrupt federal law enforcement. Thought about the 40 people in that warehouse waiting to be sold. Thought about how many others had already disappeared into this network. The helicopter dropped them a half-mile out. Maya and Atlas fast roped down, hit the ground running. The pilot lifted immediately. No lights, no sound. Ghosts in the dark. They moved through forest, silent, efficient. Atlas limped slightly but kept pace, his nose working constantly, checking for threats, for guards, for anything that didn't belong. The warehouse appeared through trees. Large, industrial, loading docks, trucks, and lights. Too many lights for an abandoned agricultural facility. Maya set up observation post in thick brush 200 yards out. Pulled out optics, started documenting. Atlas lay beside her, alert but quiet. The first thing she noticed was the security. 8 guards, professional spacing, rotating patrols, communications equipment. These weren't rent-a-cops. These were contractors, military trained, like the ones in the parking structure. The second thing she noticed was the trucks. 3 of them, unmarked panel vans. But Maya recognized the chassis. Military surplus, the kind the Navy used for transport on bases. She keyed her radio.
Overwatch to command. I'm in position. Counting 8 guards. 3 military-style vehicles. Facility is definitely active. Morrison's voice came back. Copy. Vance's plane landed 4 minutes ago. He should arrive at your location in 10. Any ID on who he's meeting? Negative. We're blind on the inside. That's why you're there. Maya adjusted her scope, watched the loading dock, and then she saw them. People, coming out of the warehouse in a line, hands zip-tied, moving like they were drugged or terrified, or both. Women, children, a few men, all of them looking at the ground, all of them defeated in a way that made Maya's chest hurt. Command, I've got visual on victims. Approximately 30 individuals. They're loading them into the trucks. Can you get photos? Maya zoomed in, started taking pictures, faces, details, anything that could identify them later. And that's when she saw her. A girl, maybe 16, dark hair, wearing a t-shirt that said Virginia State University, looking directly at Maya's position like she could sense someone watching. The girl mouthed something. Maya couldn't hear, but she could read lips. Help us, please. Atlas whined, quiet, urgent. The dog had seen the girl too, and he was alerting. Not to threat, to victims needing rescue. Maya's hand tightened on her weapon. Command, we need to move now. They're loading victims for transport. If those trucks leave, we lose them. Negative. Hold position. We're 20 minutes out. In 20 minutes, they'll be gone. Lieutenant, you are not authorized to engage. Observation only. Do you copy? Maya watched the girl being shoved into a truck. Watched her stumble. Fall. A guard grabbed her hair, yanked her up, hit her across the face. Chen, do you copy? Observation only. Maya turned off her radio. Atlas looked at her. The question in his eyes was clear. What are we doing? We're doing what SEALs do. We're saving people. She moved, fast, low, closing distance. Atlas followed, his limp forgotten, his focus total. They reached the perimeter fence. Maya cut through with bolt cutters, slipped inside, moved between trucks, using shadows, using her training. The guards were focused outward, watching for threats from outside the fence. They weren't expecting anyone already inside. Maya counted. 8 guards, 30 victims, 3 trucks. The math was bad, but she'd faced worse odds in Fallujah, in Kandahar, in a dozen other places where the mission was impossible, and SEALs did it anyway. She signaled Atlas. The dog moved left, circling, positioning, ready. A guard walked past Maya's position. She let him pass, counted his steps, waited until he was far enough from the others. Then she moved, silent, efficient. Arm around his throat, applied pressure. He went down without a sound. 1 down, 7 to go. Atlas took the second, lunged from shadows, grabbed the guard's weapon arm, pulled him off balance. Maya finished it with a strike to the temple. The guard dropped. 2 down. The third guard saw them, started to shout. Maya's suppressed weapon coughed twice. He fell. 3 down. But now the others knew. Alarms started. Lights went bright. Guards converging. Maya ran to the nearest truck, yanked open the back door. 30 terrified faces stared at her. I'm U.S. Navy. I'm getting you out. Anyone who can run, run now. Anyone who can't, stay in the truck. I'll come back for you. The Virginia State girl grabbed Maya's arm. They'll kill us if we run. They'll kill you if you don't. Move! 10 people bolted, scattered, making it harder for guards to round them up.
The other 20 were too scared or too drugged to move. Gunfire, bullets hitting metal. Maya returned fire, dropped another guard. Atlas attacked a fifth. The dog was bleeding again, his bandage soaked through, but he wasn't stopping. "Atlas, break off! Come here!" The dog obeyed, reluctantly. Maya pulled him behind the truck, checked his wound. Worse. Not critical, but getting there. "Good boy, stay." She moved again, took down the sixth guard. But the seventh and eighth had position now. Cover. Radios. They were calling for backup. Maya's radio crackled. She'd turned it off, but Morrison was using emergency override. "Chen, what the hell are you doing?" "Saving victims."
How far out is tactical? 15 minutes. You were ordered to observe. Observe what? People being loaded into trucks? I'm a SEAL, not a photographer.
"You're going to get yourself killed."
Then I'll die doing the right thing. She cut the radio again, focused on the remaining guards. They'd taken position behind concrete barriers. Good cover, clear sight lines, professional tactics. Maya had one advantage. She didn't need to kill them. She needed to delay them. Keep them focused on her while the victims ran. Buy time for FBI tactical to arrive. She started firing. Not to hit, to suppress. Keep their heads down. Force them to worry about their own survival instead of catching runners. It worked. For 90 seconds. Then a new vehicle arrived. Luxury SUV. Black. Tinted windows. It stopped near the warehouse. Thomas Vance stepped out, followed by someone Maya didn't recognize. A woman. 50s. Expensive suit. Moving with the confidence of someone who owned the place. The woman surveyed the chaos, looked directly at Maya's position, smiled. "Lieutenant Chen, so nice of you to join us." Maya didn't respond, kept her weapon trained. "I'm Caroline Price. I run this operation, and I'm very impressed with your initiative. Coming here alone, attacking my facility, trying to save people who can't be saved." "They can if you let them go." "I'm afraid that's not possible. These people represent millions in contracted revenue. I can't just release inventory because one Navy SEAL has a conscience." "Then I'll take them." Caroline laughed. "With what? You're alone, outgunned. Your backup is still minutes away, and I have 40 guards converging on this location. You've already lost. You just don't know it yet." Vance stepped forward. "You should have left me in that marsh, Lieutenant. Would have saved you a lot of trouble." "I save people, even ones who don't deserve it. That's my mistake." "Your mistake is thinking you're a hero. You're not. You're an obstacle, and obstacles get removed." Caroline pulled out her phone, made a call. "Send them in, all of them, and tell them no survivors, not even the SEAL." Headlights appeared. Multiple vehicles, coming fast. Maya counted 6, maybe 8. This wasn't backup. This was an army. Atlas pressed against her leg. The dog was trembling. Not fear, exhaustion, pain. He'd given everything, and it still wasn't enough. Maya keyed her radio one last time. "Command, I'm compromised. Multiple hostiles inbound. If I don't make it, tell Brooks he was right. This is bigger than we thought. Much bigger." Morrison's voice came back frantic. "Chen, tactical is 3 minutes out. Just hold." 3 minutes is too long. Maya stood, weapon ready, Atlas beside her. 30 victims watching, and an army of contractors closing in. This was it. The moment every SEAL trained for. The moment when the mission became more important than coming home. She looked at the Virginia State girl. "What's your name?" "Sarah Mitchell." "Sarah, when I start shooting, you run. You don't look back. You don't stop. You run until you find someone with a badge,
You tell them what happened here. You testify. You make sure this place burns. Understand? Sarah's eyes filled. You're going to die for us. I'm going to buy you time to live. That's the job. The vehicles arrived. Doors opened. Armed contractors poured out. 20, 30, more than Maya could count. Caroline's voice carried across the compound. Last chance, Lieutenant. Surrender. I'll even let you keep the dog. Maya chambered around. I don't surrender. I'm a SEAL. Then you're a dead SEAL. The contractors raised weapons, and Maya pulled Atlas close. Good boy. Best dog. I'm sorry I got you into this. Atlas licked her hand. Trust, loyalty, love. Everything a dog was, even in the face of death. The contractors fired, and Maya heard the most beautiful sound in her life. Helicopters. Coming fast. FBI tactical. Naval support. Cavalry arriving exactly when it was impossible. The facility erupted in chaos. FBI breached from 3 directions. Naval helicopters providing support fire. The contractors broke. Some ran. Some fought. Some surrendered. Caroline tried to escape. Made it to her SUV. But Sarah Mitchell, 16-year-old Virginia State student, grabbed her ankle, pulled her down. You're not running. Not anymore. Morrison reached Maya 30 seconds later. You crazy, reckless, heroic, impossible SEAL! You disobeyed direct orders. I saved 30 people. You could have died. But I didn't, and they're safe. So court-martial me later. Right now, help me secure these victims. They spent 2 hours processing, arresting contractors, documenting evidence, treating victims. Sarah Mitchell refused medical attention until she'd given a full statement. Identified Caroline. Identified Vance. Provided details about buyers she'd overheard. There's someone higher than her, Sarah said. Caroline kept talking to someone on the phone. Called him Director. Said he'd handle the SEAL problem personally. Morrison and Maya looked at each other. Webb. But when they tried to call FBI headquarters to arrest him, they got a recording. The number you have reached is no longer in service. Morrison tried 3 more numbers, all disconnected. He's running. Webb knows we're onto him. He's activating his escape plan. Then we find him before he disappears. How? He's got resources, safe houses, fake identities. He could be anywhere. Maya looked at the evidence they'd seized. Phones, laptops, communications equipment. He's been directing operations. That means communications. That means digital footprint. Get me someone who can trace that. Naval Intelligence provided a specialist, young tech expert named Danny Park. He worked through confiscated equipment for 3 hours, then looked up with wide eyes. I found him. Found where Webb's been coordinating from. Where? That's the problem. He's not in D.C. He's not even in the country. He's on a yacht, international waters, beyond U.S. jurisdiction. And according to the navigation data, Danny's voice dropped. He's meeting with someone. A vessel that's been flagged by Coast Guard intelligence. Suspected trafficking ship. Venezuelan registration. Known for moving people through Caribbean routes. Morrison grabbed her phone. We need Coast Guard, Navy, someone with maritime jurisdiction. Commander Price appeared. She'd arrived with a naval backup. I've got jurisdiction, and I've got a SEAL team on a cutter 20 miles from those coordinates. They can interdict. Webb will fight. He's got contractors with him. Then we fight back. Lieutenant Chen, you want to finish this? Maya looked at Atlas. The dog was in medical, getting stitched up. Still bleeding.
still hurting, still ready to work if she asked. Atlas needs rest. Then rest him. But I need you. One more mission, one more insertion, one more chance to stop the man behind all of this. And Maya understood that this wasn't ending. Not here. Not with Caroline arrested. Not with Vance in custody. This was just beginning. Because Webb wasn't the top. He answered to someone called Director. And that person was still out there. Still running the network. Still destroying lives. When do we leave? 30 minutes. Helicopter to the cutter. Then we go catch ourselves a corrupt FBI director and whoever's pulling his strings. Maya left Atlas with the medics, the hardest decision she'd made all day. The dog whined as she walked away. Not distress, protest. He wanted to come, wanted to protect her. Stay, boy. I'll be back. She didn't know if she was lying. The helicopter flight took 40 minutes. Maya used the time to gear up. Full tactical kit, suppressed weapons, night vision, comms. Commander Price sat across from her. 5 other SEALs filled the bird, men Maya had trained with, fought with, trusted with her life. Price briefed them fast. Webb's yacht is the Persistence, 80-foot luxury vessel. Radar shows at least 6 people aboard. Webb plus security. They're meeting with a Venezuelan-flagged ship called the Libertad. That vessel's been tracked moving people through Caribbean routes for 3 years. Never caught, never boarded. Always in international waters when Coast Guard gets close. What's the play? Maya asked. Coast Guard cutter will intercept. We board from helicopter. Fast rope onto the yacht. Secure Webb. Gather evidence. Extract before anyone can destroy it. One of the SEALs, a senior chief named Rodriguez, spoke up. What about the Libertad? If they're meeting, that ship's got people on it. Victims. Coast Guard's handling that vessel. We focus on Webb. Questions? Maya had one. If Webb resists, if his security engages, rules of engagement? Price's eyes were hard. Webb is a fugitive. His security are accessories to murder. They fire on U.S. military personnel, conducting lawful interdiction in coordination with Coast Guard. You respond with appropriate force. Translation. They could shoot back. The cutter appeared below them. Coast Guard vessel cutting through dark water. Running lights off. Moving fast. The Persistence was visible 2 miles ahead. Lit up like a floating party. Music carrying across the water. He's not even hiding, Rodriguez muttered. Arrogant bastard. Why hide when you think you're untouchable? Price checked her weapon. Let's teach him about gravity. The helicopter moved into position, hovered above the yacht. Webb's security reacted immediately, weapons drawn, shouting, pointing at the helicopter. They're not surrendering, the pilot reported. Price keyed comms. This is U.S. Navy Commander Sarah Price. You are harboring a federal fugitive. Stand down. Allow us to board peacefully. This is your only warning. Response came from below. Not words. Gunfire. Bullets pinged off the helicopter's armor. The pilot banked hard. Taking fire. I'm pulling back. Negative, Price ordered. Hold position. Fast rope deployment in 10 seconds. Ma'am, they're shooting at us. And we're shooting back. SEALs, on the rope, now! Maya was first. Grabbed the rope. Dropped through dark air. Felt bullets snap past. Felt wind. Felt gravity trying to kill her. Hit the deck hard. Rolled. Came up firing. Dropped the first security guard with 2 shots. Center mass. He went down hard. Rodriguez landed beside her. Engaged the second guard. The man tried to duck behind a deck chair. Bad choice. Rodriguez's rounds punched through furniture like paper. The other SEALs landed, formed up, moved as a unit, flowing through the yacht like water, clearing rooms, securing positions, taking down resistance. Maya reached the main cabin, kicked the door.
found Webb sitting at a table with 3 other people, 2 men in expensive suits. One woman Maya recognized from intelligence briefings, Senator Patricia Drummond, Armed Services Committee, 20 years in office, currently running for president. Webb looked up, smiled. "Lieutenant Chen, I should have known. You're remarkably persistent for someone so young." "You're under arrest. Conspiracy to commit murder, human trafficking, corruption. That's just for starters." Senator Drummond stood slowly. "Lieutenant, you're making a terrible mistake. The only mistake I made was not shooting you in the marsh when I had the chance." Maya kept her weapon trained on Webb. "Hands, now, all of you." "Do you know who I am?" Drummond's voice carried authority that had probably worked on junior officers before. It didn't work on Maya. "You're a sitting senator meeting with a fugitive who runs a trafficking network, which makes you an accessory, maybe a co-conspirator. Hands up or I'll put them up for you." Webb laughed. "She doesn't understand, Patricia. She thinks we're criminals. She doesn't realize we're patriots. Patriots don't traffic children. Patriots do what's necessary to protect their country. We've been running this operation for 12 years, created leverage over 200 powerful people, foreign nationals, corporate leaders, politicians, every one of them compromised, every one of them controllable. And that control has prevented wars, stopped terrorist attacks, shaped policy in ways official channels never could." Maya's finger tightened on the trigger. "You're justifying slavery as foreign policy." "I'm explaining reality. The world doesn't run on laws, Lieutenant. It runs on leverage, information, compromise. We traffic people not for money, but for power. Power that keeps America safe. By destroying innocent lives? By sacrificing the few to save the many. That's war. You're a SEAL. You understand acceptable casualties. I understand you're a monster in a suit who thinks position makes you immune to consequences. It doesn't." Drummond stepped forward. "Lieutenant Chen, I'm ordering you to stand down. As a member of the Armed Services Committee, I have oversight of all military operations. This isn't a military operation. It's a law enforcement interdiction. And you don't have authority here." Price entered behind Maya. "Nobody move. Senator Drummond, you're being detained. Webb, you're under arrest. The 2 gentlemen with you, identify yourselves." The men stayed silent. Price nodded to Rodriguez. "Secure them. Photograph them. Get fingerprints. We'll ID them later." Webb's smile never faltered. "You think you've won. You haven't. You've just created a larger problem than you can solve." "What problem?" "The director, my superior, the person who actually runs this network. You think I'm the top? I'm middle management. And when the director learns what you've done tonight—" Webb stopped, looked past Maya toward the door. His smile widened. "Ah, right on schedule." Maya turned, found herself staring at Commander Sarah Price, who was holding a weapon, pointed at Maya. "Commander?" Price's expression was apologetic. "I'm sorry, Lieutenant. I really am. You're an exceptional SEAL, but you've interfered with an operation decades in the making, and I can't allow that to continue." Maya's world tilted. "You're the director." "I prefer commanding officer, but yes, I've been running this network for 8 years. Inherited it from my predecessor, expanded it, perfected it, and I've used it to do more good than 100 congressional committees ever accomplished." "You trafficked people." "I created instruments of foreign policy. Every person we moved became leverage. Every powerful person who bought became an asset. I've prevented 3 wars, Lieutenant. Stopped 2 terrorist organizations from acquiring nuclear material. Facilitated regime changes that saved tens of thousands of lives. And I did it all using methods the official government couldn't touch. By destroying innocent people. By making hard choices. The kind you'll understand when you're older. When you've seen enough death to know that some sacrifices prevent greater suffering. Maya's weapon was still in her hand, but Price had hers trained on Maya's head. The other SEALs in the room were frozen, confused. Their commanding officer was suddenly the enemy. Rodriguez spoke up. "Commander Price, what are you doing?" "Securing the operation, Senior Chief. These investigations, Brooks, Morrison, Chen, they've gotten too close, exposed too much. We need to eliminate the evidence, including the witnesses." "Ma'am, we're U.S. Navy SEALs. We don't murder civilians." "You follow orders. That's what SEALs do. And I'm ordering you to secure Lieutenant Chen. Place her in restraints. We'll handle this quietly." Rodriguez looked at Maya, at Price, at the impossible choice. "Ma'am, respectfully, no." Price's jaw tightened. "That's insubordination." "That's my conscience, ma'am. Chen's right. You're trafficking people. That's not policy. That's evil." The other SEALs nodded, slowly, one by one, choosing Maya over their commander, choosing right over orders. Price's face hardened. "Then you're all making the same mistake." She keyed her radio. "Execute Omega Protocol, all units. Eliminate witnesses. Burn everything." Maya moved, tackled Price. The gun went off. Bullet hit ceiling. They hit the deck hard, wrestling for the weapon. Price was older, but trained, experienced. She got leverage, threw Maya off. Rodriguez fired, warning shot. "Commander, stand down!" Price rolled, came up shooting, hit Rodriguez in the vest. He went down. The other SEALs returned fire. Price dove through a door, disappeared into the yacht. Maya grabbed Rodriguez. "You hit?" "Vest caught it. Ribs are broken, but I'm alive. Go get her!" Maya ran after Price. The yacht was chaos. Explosions starting. Price was destroying evidence, burning it all. The ship began listing, taking water. Maya found Price on the bridge, uploading files to encrypted server, wiping the yacht's computers. "It's over, Commander." "It's never over. I've got backups, safe houses, resources you can't imagine. I'll disappear, rebuild, continue the mission." "Not this time." Price pulled a detonator. "This yacht has charges throughout the hull. I press this button, we all sink. You, me, Webb, Drummond, everyone. And the evidence goes with us." "Then press it, because I'm not letting you walk away." "You're 22 years old. You have your whole life ahead of you. Don't throw it away for this." "I'm a SEAL. I don't abandon missions. Or people. Press the button or put it down. Choose." Price looked at her. Really looked. "You would die to stop me. Every day and twice on Sunday. You're just like your father." Maya froze. "What?" "Commander James Chen. Served with me 12 years ago. Discovered the early version of this network. Tried to expose it. I had him killed. Made it look like a training accident. You're his daughter. I knew the second I saw your file. Same eyes. Same stubborn refusal to accept necessary evil." The world stopped. Maya's father. Murdered. By the woman who'd commanded her, mentored her, trained her. "You killed my dad." "I eliminated a threat to national security, just like I'm about to eliminate you." Price's finger moved toward the detonator button. Maya fired. 3 shots, center mass. Price dropped. The detonator fell, hit the deck. didn't activate. Maya kicked it away, knelt beside Price. The commander was bleeding, dying, but still conscious. "Your father," Price coughed blood, "would be proud. You're everything he was. Brave, stupid, doomed." "Where's the director? The real one? You said you inherited this network." Price smiled, blood on her teeth. "There is no director. It's a myth. Something we created to make people think there was someone above us, someone to blame. But there's just us. People making hard choices, doing terrible things, for what we think are good reasons." "That's not good enough." "It never is, but it's all we have." Price's eyes closed. Her breathing stopped. And Maya sat there, holding the woman who'd killed her father, who'd mentored her, who'd been a hero and a monster in the same uniform. Rodriguez appeared. "Jen, the yacht's sinking. We need to evacuate." "What about Webb? Drummond?" "Coast Guard has them. They're already off the ship. But we've got bigger problems. The Libertad, the Venezuelan vessel, it's not stopping. It's running. And Coast Guard estimates it's got at least 60 people aboard. Victims." "Then we stop it." "Maya, you just killed your commanding officer. You need medical, psychiatric eval, debrief. You can't—" "Those 60 people can't wait for me to process trauma."
They need rescue. Now. So we're getting them. You in or not?" Rodriguez looked at her. At this 22-year-old SEAL, who just learned her father was murdered, who just killed her mentor, who was still putting mission first. "Yeah, I'm in." They evacuated the yacht. Coast Guard picked them up, and as the Persistence sank into dark water carrying Price's body, Maya watched the Libertad running south, trying to reach Venezuelan waters where U.S. couldn't pursue. But the cutter was faster, and Maya wasn't done. The Coast Guard cutter gained on the Libertad with every mile. Maya stood on deck, watching the trafficker ship try to run. But running required speed, and the Libertad was heavy, carrying 60 people who didn't want to be there. The cutter's captain approached. "Lieutenant Chen, I've got orders from Naval Command. You're to stand down. Return to base for psychological evaluation following Commander Price's death." "What about the victims on that ship?" "My boarding team will handle it." "With respect, sir, your boarding team hasn't spent the last 18 hours fighting this network. I have. I know their tactics, their methods. Let me finish this." The captain studied her. "You just killed your commanding officer. Your judgment might be compromised." "My judgment is the only thing that kept me alive today, and it's telling me those 60 people need rescue before that ship reaches Venezuelan waters. Once it does, we lose jurisdiction. We lose them. Forever." The captain looked at Rodriguez. "Senior Chief, professional opinion. Is Lieutenant Chen fit for duty?" Rodriguez didn't hesitate. "Sir, Chen's the best SEAL I've worked with. Young, but solid. If she says she can do this, she can." "Against my better judgment, fine. But Chen, you're under my command now. You follow my orders. No heroics. No independent action. Clear?" "Crystal, sir." The cutter pulled alongside the Libertad. Loudspeakers blared. "This is United States Coast Guard. You are engaged in human trafficking in international waters. Heave to and prepare to be boarded. This is not a request." The Libertad didn't slow, didn't acknowledge, just kept running. "They're not stopping," the captain said. "Prepare boarding team." Maya geared up with Rodriguez and 4 Coast Guard personnel. They approached in a rigid hull inflatable boat. Fast, maneuverable, closed distance quickly. The Libertad's crew saw them coming, started throwing things overboard.
Evidence. Documents. Trying to destroy proof before boarding. "They're dumping," Rodriguez called. "Whatever they're throwing is what convicts them." The RIB pulled alongside. Maya was first up the ladder, climbed fast, came over the rail weapon first. Found herself staring at 8 crew members, all armed, all looking desperate. "Drop weapons! U.S. Coast Guard, you are under arrest!" They didn't drop. They opened fire. Maya dove, rolled, came up shooting, dropped 2. Rodriguez took down a third. Coast Guard personnel engaged the others. It was chaos, close quarters, bullets ricocheting off metal. One crew member ran below deck, toward where the victims were held. Maya chased him, down narrow stairs, through cramped corridors. The man was fast, but Maya was faster. She tackled him. They hit the deck hard. He swung, caught her in the jaw. Stars exploded. She headbutted him, felt his nose break. He went limp. Maya zip-tied his hands, kept moving, found the hold, and what she saw made her want to scream. 63 people, crammed into a space designed for cargo, chained, filthy, terrified. Children, women, some men, all of them looking at Maya like she was either salvation or just another nightmare. "I'm U.S. Navy. I'm getting you out. It's over. You're safe." A woman in the front, maybe 30, holding a child, spoke in broken English. "Safe? They say we safe before. Then they sell us. You sell us too?" "No, I swear, you're being rescued. No one's selling anyone." "Why you help us?" Maya thought about her father, about Commander Price, about 18 hours of fighting people who justified evil. Because it's right, and somebody has to. Rodriguez appeared, saw the hold. His face went white. "Dear God, we need medical. All of them need medical. Get Coast Guard corpsmen down here, and get these chains off, now." They worked fast, bolt cutters on chains, medics treating injuries, dehydration, malnutrition, trauma that would take years to heal. But they were alive. They were free. Maya helped a teenage boy stand. He couldn't have been more than 16. "What's your name?" "Carlos, from Honduras. They took me 3 months ago. Said they had job for me in America. Good job, but—" His voice broke. "Not job. Prison." "Where were they taking you?" "They say buyers waiting. Rich people. Want workers who don't complain. Who can't go to police." "Not anymore. You're going to a hospital. Then immigration will help you. Get you home or get you safe. Your choice." Carlos looked at her. "You really Navy?" "Really. My grandfather was Navy. Mexican Navy. He say Navy people are honorable. I think he right." Maya had to look away because tears were coming, and seals didn't cry in front of the people they rescued. Except she wasn't just a seal anymore. She was someone who'd learned that following orders wasn't the same as doing right. They evacuated everyone to the cutter. Medical teams worked overtime. The Coast Guard arrested the Libertad's crew, and Maya finally let herself sit down, let herself feel the weight. Rodriguez sat beside her. "You good?" "My commanding officer murdered my father. Then I killed her. And we just rescued 63 people from slavery. So no, I'm not good. But I'm better than they are." "What happens now?" "I get court-martialed probably. Dishonorably discharged. Maybe prison time for killing Price." "Price was a traitor. She fired first. She was also my CO. Military justice doesn't care much about nuance." The cutter returned to port. FBI was waiting. Morrison was there with Brooks in a wheelchair and Reed on crutches.
They'd insisted on being present for the rescue's aftermath. Brooks wheeled over to Maya. "You did it! You actually did it! Took down the whole network!" "Price is dead. Webb and Drummond are in custody. Caroline's talking. The network's broken, but not destroyed. There are others. Always others." "Then we'll catch them too, because now we know what we're looking for. Thanks to you." Morrison approached. "Lieutenant Chen, I need a statement. Everything that happened on that yacht, particularly the circumstances of Commander Price's death." Maya gave her the facts, all of them. Price's confession, the detonator, the shooting. Morrison recorded it all without comment. When Maya finished, Morrison said, "You're going to need a lawyer, a good one. Price had friends, allies, who'll want revenge. They'll try to paint you as unstable, reckless. They'll make you the villain. Let them try. I saved lives. That's all that matters. Legally it matters how you save them. Killing your commanding officer, even a corrupt one, is serious. You could face murder charges." "Then I face them, but I'm not apologizing for stopping her." Morrison smiled. "Good, because I'm not letting you go down alone. FBI will testify on your behalf. Brooks, Reed, every victim we rescued. We'll make sure justice sees the whole picture." 3 days later, Maya was in a hospital room when Atlas finally found her. The German Shepherd had been released from medical, stitched up, medicated, but still limping, still hurting. He pushed through the door, ran to Maya's bed, put his head on her lap. And Maya broke, just completely broke, crying into his fur, holding him like he was the only real thing in a world of lies. "Good boy, best boy. I missed you so much." Atlas licked her face, tail wagging despite his injuries, forgiving her for leaving him behind, trusting her even after everything. Brooks visited that afternoon. "Chen, how you holding up?" "Atlas is here, so I'm good." "I wanted you to know. Your father, Commander James Chen. I looked into his death. Price was right. It was murder. Covered up. Made to look like a training accident. But I found the original investigation. The inconsistencies. The questions that were never answered. Your father died a hero trying to expose this network. Does knowing that change anything? It proves you come from good stock, and that sometimes the right thing costs everything. Your father knew that. So did you. That's legacy." "My father died. I might go to prison. That's not legacy. That's tragedy." Your father's death led to you finishing his mission. You exposed corruption at the highest levels, saved hundreds of people, destroyed a network that operated for 12 years. That's not tragedy. That's triumph, built on sacrifice. Maya looked at Atlas, at the dog who'd alerted in a marsh, who'd started everything. "I just followed my dog. He's the real hero." "Then we honor him by making sure his work mattered. I'm testifying at your hearing. So is Reed. So are 63 people you saved from the Libertad. So is every victim from the warehouse. You're not fighting this alone." The military tribunal convened 2 weeks later. Maya stood before 5 officers, 3 admirals, 2 senior captains, all of them looking at her like she was either a hero or a criminal. Maybe both. The charges were read: unauthorized engagement, destruction of government property, insubordination, killing a superior officer. Each one carrying years in military prison. The prosecution argued for dishonorable discharge and 20 years confinement. Lieutenant Chen repeatedly disobeyed direct orders, conducted unauthorized operations, and ultimately killed her commanding officer. Regardless of Commander Price's corruption,
Lieutenant Chen's actions represent fundamental failure to maintain military discipline. The defense, a Navy JAG officer named Captain Sarah Martinez, stood. Lieutenant Chen saved 3 FBI agents from drowning, infiltrated a trafficking network, rescued 93 victims total, and exposed corruption that reached to flag officer rank. Her actions weren't insubordination. They were moral courage in the face of systemic evil. Commander Price confessed to murder, attempted to destroy evidence, threatened to kill Lieutenant Chen and other personnel. The shooting was justified self-defense. Commander Price was Lieutenant Chen's superior. The chain of command broke when Price became a criminal. At that point, she forfeited her authority. Lieutenant Chen responded appropriately to a hostile threat. The tribunal deliberated for 8 hours.
When they returned, the lead admiral stood.
Lieutenant Maya Chen, this tribunal finds you guilty of unauthorized operations, guilty of insubordination, not guilty of destruction of property. Circumstances were extenuating. Not guilty of murder. Self-defense was justified. Maya's chest tightened. 2 guilty verdicts. Career over. However, given the extraordinary circumstances, the lives saved, the corruption exposed, this tribunal sentences you to reduction in rank to O1. Formal reprimand. 6 months suspension from active duty. But, and this is important, you are also awarded the Navy Cross for extraordinary heroism, the Meritorious Service Medal, and the recommendation that you be considered for advancement to Lieutenant Commander within 3 years. Maya blinked. Sir, I don't understand. You're demoting and promoting me? We're acknowledging that you broke rules for the right reasons. Military discipline requires consequences, but military honor requires recognition. You're a hero, Lieutenant. Just a hero who needs to learn when to ask permission before saving the world. Sir, what about Atlas? The Admiral smiled. Your canine partner is awarded the Dickin Medal for gallantry, and he's assigned to you permanently. Wherever you go, he goes. 3 months later, Maya stood at her father's grave, Atlas beside her. She'd learned the truth, read the files, understood that her father had died trying to stop the same network she'd destroyed. Dad, I finished it. Commander Price is dead. Webb's in prison. Drummond lost her Senate seat. The network's broken. It took 18 hours and I almost died a dozen times, but we did it. And I met a dog who saved my life, who reminds me every day that loyalty matters more than rank. Atlas pressed against her leg. Warm, solid, real. I'm starting a foundation, teaching people how to recognize trafficking, how to report it, how to fight it, using everything I learned. And I'm training canines, pairing them with law enforcement, with survivors, with anyone who needs protection. We're calling it the Atlas Initiative, because one alert from one dog saved 93 lives. And if we can train more dogs, save more people, then maybe, her voice broke, maybe all the pain matters. Brooks appeared, walking now, fully recovered. Chen, you ready? For what? Congressional testimony. You're speaking to the Armed Services Committee about Price, about the network, about what needs to change so this never happens again. They actually want to hear from me? You're a Navy Cross recipient who exposed flag officer corruption. They're terrified of you, which means they'll listen. Use it. Maya testified for 6 hours, told the truth, all of it. Price's confession, the 12-year operation, the victims, the buyers, the systemic rot that allowed it.
And she ended with one statement. This network succeeded because good people followed orders without questioning them, because loyalty to commanders mattered more than loyalty to humanity. I broke that pattern, disobeyed orders, killed my commanding officer to stop her from destroying evidence and murdering witnesses. I'd do it again, every time, because some things matter more than rank, more than career, more than coming home. Saving innocent lives matters. Stopping slavery matters. Doing what's right even when it costs everything, that matters most of all. The committee chair, a senator who'd replaced Drummond, leaned forward. Lieutenant Chen, what do you want us to do? Create oversight that can't be corrupted. Require regular audits of all military commands. Protect whistleblowers. Train personnel to recognize trafficking. Partner with organizations that fight it. And most importantly, teach people that following orders doesn't excuse participating in evil. Individual conscience must sometimes override institutional authority. That's not weakness. That's the strength that keeps us human. The Atlas Initiative launched 6 months later, funded by seized trafficking assets, teaching self-defense, emergency signals, canine handling, survivor support. In the first year, they trained 200 dogs. Those dogs helped rescue 400 trafficking victims. Sarah Mitchell, the Virginia State student Maya saved, became the foundation's youngest spokesperson. She traveled to schools, told her story, taught teenagers how to recognize recruiters, how to stay safe, how to help others. Carlos, the Honduran teenager from the Libertad, got asylum, went to college, became an immigration attorney specializing in trafficking cases. He credited Maya with showing him that some people fight for strangers because it's right. Brooks was promoted to FBI Deputy Director, made human trafficking his priority, used Maya's methods, aggressive intervention, protecting victims over preserving investigations. In 3 years, FBI trafficking arrests tripled. Reed partnered with naval intelligence, creating task force specifically targeting military-connected trafficking. They shut down 12 operations, arrested 47 personnel, proved that corruption could be rooted out. And Maya, she returned to active duty after her suspension, promoted on schedule despite the demotion, became instructor at SEAL training, teaching new recruits about moral courage, about knowing when to disobey, about understanding that honor sometimes requires sacrifice. Every class, she brought Atlas. Let the dog demonstrate alerts. Let students learn that sometimes the clearest moral voice belongs to an animal who just knows right from wrong, without laws or orders or rank. On the 5th anniversary of Blackwater Marsh, Maya stood at the site where it all started, where Atlas had found 3 dying FBI agents, where one alert from one dog had triggered everything. Brooks and Reed were there, Morrison, Rodriguez, Sarah Mitchell, Carlos. 63 people from the Libertad, 30 from the warehouse. Families of victims who hadn't survived, all gathered to honor the moment when one person refused to walk away. Maya didn't give a speech, just stood with Atlas and said what her father had probably known all along. Evil wins when good people decide it's not their problem. When we follow orders that feel wrong. When we prioritize our careers over other people's lives. My father died fighting that instinct. Commander Price died embodying it. I almost died learning the difference. Atlas, she knelt beside the German shepherd. Atlas just knew. From the first alert in this marsh, he knew people needed help. And he wouldn't stop until I listened.
That's the lesson. Listen to the warnings. Trust your conscience. And when you see evil, even evil wearing a uniform or a badge or a suit, stand up, even if it costs everything. Especially then, because that's when it matters most. Atlas barked once. Agreement, affirmation, and every person there understood that sometimes the greatest moral clarity comes from the simplest source. A dog who alerts because people are in danger and refuses to stop until someone with authority chooses to do what's right instead of what's ordered. Maya Chen saved 93 people by following one dog's alert and refusing to quit, even when her commanding officer turned out to be the enemy. She lost her mentor, her rank, nearly her life. But she gained something more valuable. The knowledge that courage isn't about being fearless. It's about choosing right when wrong is easier. About protecting the vulnerable when powerful people profit from exploitation. About standing up even when, especially when, the cost is everything. That's not just a Navy SEAL story. That's everyone's story. The choice we face every day. Do we look away from suffering because it's not our problem? Or do we act because humanity requires it? Maya chose action. Atlas chose to alert. And together they proved that one person and one dog can change everything. As long as they refuse to be silent when silence is safer. As long as they choose courage over comfort. As long as they remember that evil doesn't win through strength. It wins through the silence of good people who decide not to get involved. Maya got involved, and 93 people lived because she did. That's not a miracle. That's just what happens when someone listens to their conscience and their dog, and decides that saving lives matters more than following rules written by people who profit from suffering.